without having flashbacks and night terrors of everything that's happened. I don't even get to have a normal relationship because I'm in fear of what the next person might do. It's hard for me to trust anyone in my life. I've had to overcome a lot of things in my life, which has made me the person that I am today. And I hope that John Gibson, his mom, and cousin get what they have coming to them through this trial. You have affected many girls and their families through this whole situation with sex trafficking and abusing all of us girls. Not once did you ever think about our feelings and what we wanted and how we trusted you to get to where we needed to be or what we wanted to be in life. It's sad that you couldn't see our pain and our hurt and what we have had to endure since all this happened. I hope you get what you have coming to you, and you don't have to get out of prison for a very long time. Even if you do get out, you can sit in prison and think about all the things that you have done wrong to us girls. Okay, we have Mr. and Mrs. Wiwatowski on Zoom, and they'd like to make their own statement.
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. Is this one statement, a joint statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Ms. Wiwatowski,
Honorable Judge.
let me
Yes.
see your face, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on. I don't know how to turn it back on. Here it is. I'm more not so privy with Zoom. I use.
Thank you.
I'll stay on. I have no problem keeping my camera on.
All right, go right ahead.
Honorable Judge, our daughter became involved with the defendant in the summer of 2015. She had just only turned 21 in the March of the same year. Because she was so young, we were still paying for her car insurance, her cell phone. This is how we located our only child, who was taken from North Carolina to Georgia with a promise to be his girlfriend and even told he was meeting his mother. Please understand the relevance to that statement because I have been married since September of 1989. And all these warm and fuzzy triggers played into the scam of his wealth and the role that he would play in these women's lives. Using his one-hit wonder status to steal their person. He and his mom literally stole the souls of all the women that they victimized. This is evident in our daughter's case, as what he did to her defined her what she is today. She has been traumatized to the point she can't even be a mother to her own children. She's been in counseling since this incident and suffers post-traumatic stress disorder because of the violence and deceit that he and his mom delivered. These individuals withheld food while they were selling these young ladies on the internet to these Johns. And they would keep every dollar too. That's how they made their money. They didn't make it by music. They simply used the music platform to lure these women in. Please consider that my daughter was an honor student who graduated high school in 2012 with almost an associate's degree in biology, and she was attending college for dental in 2015 when he made his broken promises and forced her into prostitution. We filed a missing person report. We contacted the Atlanta police. When no one listened, I called him, and guess what? I told him, like the movie Taken, I was coming and getting my own. Now, for the defense, who states, well, why didn't you just leave? Because these clowns were everywhere and literally at the side of my car.
Ms. Wiwatowski, I want you to focus your statement as an impact statement, and I want you to direct your comments to me, okay?
Okay. Well, she made a point to get us as close as possible. My point is, within minutes of we getting our daughter, that Mama Cash and her another woman were in the side of our car and we barely escaped. To say that children could just walk off, they couldn't. These people were everywhere. Please give all the victims their day by throwing the book at these folks. Remember the parents that traveled and drove from their home to his door to do a well check for their daughter. Remember how we put ourselves in danger to save our daughter. And finally, remember and resonate with the fact that even though we restored her body, we have been unsuccessful in saving and healing the person because of the trauma that these animals delivered. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm done.
All right. All right.
The next statement is from Diamond Irvin.
Okay.
My past dealing with Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor has impacted my life in a major way. Because of these people, I know they are. Because of the people I know they are, I am in consistent fear of my life and for the well-being of my family. I know what they are capable of, and I know how far they can extend. So for the rest of my life, I will fear that they will kill me. I will never forget the times that he threatened to kill me with a gun, even firing gunshots indoor wherever we were, all because he was mad that I didn't want to go out and do what he wanted me to do. They know where members of my family live, and I will rest easier knowing that these two individuals are locked up for their crimes. I suffer severe depression from my past experience with these two individuals, as well as persistent anxiety. I have been in and out of the emergency room for at least 6 times to receive treatment for symptoms such as high blood pressure and rapid heart rate because of the trauma that Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor put me through. I have been prescribed several medications to help me deal with these symptoms. As a result of their manipulation of me, I have found it hard to gain and keep employment, and I have had to relocate out of the state of Georgia just to get away from them. I hope the court takes my experience into strong consideration when sentencing Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor, so that me and my family and others would seek to do harm to be safer and protected. The next statement is from Janae Wright. I have gone back and forth writing this just to soothe my soul and allow my spirit to rest it deserves by being satisfied with vindication felt from facing one of my demons responsible for the most traumatic experience I've ever lived through by testifying. However, the God I serve knows me, and that same God prompted me to release this burden from my heart and speak one last time. So here it goes. In 2015, I was robbed and raped at gunpoint by 2 men while in a hotel with my best friend. In 2015, I was 20 years old, young, free, open-hearted, optimistic, and had an insatiable lust for life. However, after the event in 2015, I became anxiety and depression stricken, filled with paranoia and severely distrustful of everything and everyone. That was cowardly, and inwardly I felt alone, afraid, disgusting, unloved, and unlovable because I was tainted by an experience that altered my personality so much that I couldn't even recognize myself. Repulsed by the thought that I would be forced to explain to anyone who attempted to bond with me, and fearful of being too much to deal with, because why would anyone love a victim of such a heinous and fearful of a heinous thing, or fearful of being questioned because my story didn't make sense, and I would not be seen as a victim I really was. Pushing away anyone close to me before they could leave me first, but worst of all, I felt like I didn't deserve to live anymore. As I sit in my tears, remembering how this one event spiraled into the darkest moments of my entire existence, I remember the gut-wrenching feeling of having to explain to my friends and family that cared about me what happened, and the feeling of being judged, just as I did the day that the police were called and ignored me as well. I wanted to die. I tried to die. And had it not been for me hearing my grandmother's voice while I drifted into what I thought would be a peaceful death after swallowing what I thought was enough Tylenol PM to end my life, I never would have had the strength to turn on my stomach and make myself vomit until it hurt. But at that time, I was miserable, desperate, alone, and afraid of the entire world, and even myself. It's been 10 years of hell, healing, and hoped that one day I would be able to tell my story and it would finally bring justice. So when I was contacted in 2022, I knew I had to tell it. For my then 4-year-old, now 8-year-old daughter that I vowed to protect with my entire being. For Frederica, the most loyal friend I've ever had. For the women and victims I learned about along the way, but most importantly, for myself. Dear John Michael Hakeem Gibson, you don't deserve prison. Prison would be too good of a place for you. But since the death penalty is not an option, I pray that you never know peace and that your soul will never return to this realm after it leaves. You are a disgrace and an abomination and true definition of a monster. I hope that the judge finds it in her heart to make sure that you will never know freedom as long as you live.
Are you a full stack marketer spending all day switching between platforms? Now with SEMrush Tools.
On behalf of Talicia Dewberry, it states, good morning. Reliving the events surrounding this trafficking case has affected me both mentally and physically. Since the investigation and my testimony, I've struggled with severe nightmares and flashbacks that disturb my sleep and concentration. The memories of what I witnessed and endured continue to resurface unexpectedly, leaving me feeling anxious and emotionally overwhelmed. This trauma has begun to affect my relationship with my loved ones. Where I was once present and engaged, now I feel myself withdrawing, easily agitated, and unable to fully connect. My performance at work has also been compromised. Tasks that once felt routine now don't feel the same, as my ability to focus deteriorates under emotional distress. I share this not as a complaint, but to give a voice to the invisible weight that many survivors carry. I'm committed to healing and I'm grateful for the resources available, but I hope this statement provides a deeper insight into the toll this case continues to take on my life. Thank you for listening and for advocating on behalf of those who are still navigating the aftermath. Sincerely, Talicia Dewberry. And I have a statement on behalf of Jasmine Brown, which states, I wish him nothing but hell. And now I'll be reading the statement on behalf of Kiera Adams.
And Your Honor, we state for the record, we spoke with Kiera Adams' attorney, Jacoby Hudson. He's given us permission to read the statement.
Thank you.
I'm writing this to respectfully provide insight into the profound impact that being coerced into sex work has had on my life and my family. I want you to know the severe emotional, psychological, physical, and social consequences that I have endured. Many days I want to give up, but I keep fighting. No one truly understands the pain that I have experienced and continue to struggle with in my life. I've been wearing an ankle monitor for over 2 years, which means I'm unable to take a simple bath, find clothes to cover it so people don't freak out nor judge me. Daily stress of making sure it's charged, adding weight to my leg, and has severely scarred my ankle. Being forced into sex work was not a choice, but a situation driven by bad consequences or just getting involved with the wrong guy. This experience has left me deep scars in every aspect of my life. The constant fear for my safety and that of my family is overwhelming. As faced with explicit threats of harm if I attempted to leave, the threats created a sense of terror that continues to haunt me and my family daily, making it difficult to feel secure even now. The psychological toll has been devastating, and I have struggled with severe depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, numbness, emptiness, and feeling like I am constantly being judged or punished. These mental health challenges sometimes cause me to break down, which left me unable to function normally or maintain stability in my life. The stigma attached to my past has compounded these struggles as I face relentless judgment from others in my community, workplaces, family, and friends. This judgment has made it incredibly hard in my life to secure stable, well-paying employment, as employers often dismiss me upon learning my history regardless of my qualifications or effort. My family has also been profoundly affected. The shame and stigma associated with my coerced involvement into sex work has strained our relationships, caused them significant emotional distress. I'm no longer close with many of my family members, and they no longer talk to me or want to be around me. They too live in fear of retaliation from those who once controlled me and threaten to cause harm to me and my family, such as shoot up my mom's house. Each day I'm faced with the task of trying to escape the cycle of fear, judgment, and economic hardships, which is very exhausting and challenging. I respectfully ask that you consider the immense challenges I have faced as a result of being coerced into sex work. Challenges that include ongoing mental health struggles, social ostracism, economic instability, and thoughts of living under consistent threats. These circumstances have shaped my life in ways I never could have anticipated, and I am working relentlessly to rebuild and move forward. I now have stable employment and previously enrolled in an online college for animation. I humbly request your compassion and understanding into your consideration of my case. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter and for considering my circumstances. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story. Respectfully, Kiera Adams. And Judge, we have one more statement by Jordan Adams. She would like to read it for herself.
Sure. All right, Ms. Adams, if you'll come right up here, please direct all your comments to me, okay? All right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I wound up in the company of these strangers during a dark time in my life,
Swing the mic over to her, please. Thank you.
where they violated me, assaulted me, and attempted to market and sell me for the purposes of prostitution. Can you believe that after hours of rape and assault, I consider myself lucky? Because had they been successful, had my family not tracked me down, had Officer Yamians and his degree of skill and experience witnessing victims of human trafficking not recognized my distress and rescued me, I would have been further victimized on a regular basis for God knows how long. In my vulnerable state, I simply wasn't strong enough to save myself or even found value in saving myself. These defendants not only saw this and preyed on this, they further violated, assaulted, and victimized me and attempted to profit off of this vulnerability as if my body was a wholesale product they sought to make revenue from. I need you to know how much these events not only affected me in my life, but even the lives of those I love. These crimes go much further beyond just us women in this case, but the loved ones in our life as well. The past 6.5 years, I've had nightmares on average 1 to 2 times a week. My own daughter has woken me up from these nightmares, my girlfriend, family members. I've been told I sound petrified, probably because I am. In these nightmares, it's always the same. I'm held down, I cannot move, and their voices are laughing at me, telling me they're gonna do whatever they want to me. I can't breathe and I gasp and I wake up crying. Like my mother and brother mentioned when they picked me up, I was utterly broken with a 1,000-yard stare. That didn't go away for about nearly 2 years after this event. I was catatonic, I couldn't be near or close to men. It was difficult to hold down a job. The flashbacks would often come crashing into my brain, solicited or not, to the point I'd have panic attacks and even cover my ears in an attempt to quiet their haunting voices in my head. The day these defendants chose to commit these crimes against me, they gave me a life sentence, and there was no mercy or consideration. And while I worked my butt off to successfully complete probation, win custody of my daughter, and work at nearly every major gun store and firing range in the state of Georgia to become a qualified firearm instructor in the areas of self-defense, I can tell you today that none of it has fully healed me from this violence and trauma. I don't know if there will ever be enough time. On an everyday basis, I wear 4 to 5 blades, a stun gun, pepper spray, a full-size weapon, and 80 rounds of law enforcement grade HST. And my clients often ask me, is that necessary? And Your Honor, I say absolutely. Because I know what it feels like to nearly lose your life, and as a woman, lose a piece of your soul and that you can never get back. to witness and encounter evil where there's no hesitation to harm you. I've seen it and survived it. I know today that I'm equipped and qualified to defend my life for others and to share this knowledge with others. Not only do I owe it to help others and their healing and to serve my community, I owe it to the girl that I used to be. The girl that couldn't save herself. But perhaps this step right here will offer me the healing I and these women in the community need from the offenses the court has recognized these people committed. Regarding sentencing, I'd like to reiterate that my nightmares and flashbacks in my sentence is only one of many. There were many, many other women who went unnamed during this trial. John Michael Gibson and his mother affected so many women, Your Honor. For God's sake, he picked his own mother out. It's no less impact on the community, what their sentences should be. I know that's your decision, but this is, I'm sorry, excuse me. They were in a criminal organization of prostitution and human trafficking, victimizing other women. They're all old enough to understand and know better. Your Honor, I want to thank you, the court, the jurors, and the state and its law enforcement officers for saving me when I couldn't save myself, for holding all the defendants accountable, and for rendering a decision today regarding penalty in this case. I especially want to thank Officer Yamians and Investigator Dillard for going above and beyond throughout these years, and ADA Winfrey for tirelessly working on this case since day one. They're the heroes all of us ladies needed. After today, I keep hearing that I may be able to put this behind me. Your Honor, it's never behind me. It's always with me, even in my sleep and my subconscious. I wish I could better describe to you what it feels like to be a broken human being, to be broken by witnessing and enduring true malevolence. It changes you, it shakes you to the core, and the reverberations are like a ripple effect from a pebble in a pond that ebb and flow for eons. The defendants showed no mercy when sentencing me, and I ask you today that you take that into consideration when sentencing them. Thank you again.
Your Honor, with that being said, the state would like to now put on the record our recommendation for the court's consideration.
All right. Slow, please.
Absolutely. As to John Michael Hakeem Gibson, count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 10, rape, life. Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 24 and count 30, merge, 12 months to serve. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years consecutive to the sentence. Count 26, pimping, 12 months to serve. Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution, 12 months to serve. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, 12 months to serve. And count 45, prohibited items by an inmate, 5 years to serve. We'd ask the court as special conditions, should the court give any probated time, that a $100,000 fine be allowed pursuant to OCGA section 16-5-46. Defendant is to register as a sex offender. Defendant Gibson is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with all named victims in the indictment, to include Diamond Irvin, who was not named in the indictment but testified at trial, and he's to stay away from their families. He is to not hold any fiduciary positions or positions of trust, and cannot possess any other person's identifying information. He's to have no social media or no dating applications, and he is to stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. He is not to engage, of course, in the commercial sex business. He is to stay away from 737 Alfred Road, Northwest in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Mezzo Apartments located at 2171 Peachtree Road in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. He's also to stay away from 9340 St. Georgian Commons in Johns Creek. The defendant may not form a limited liability corporation or other corporation without prior knowledge and consent of his probation officer. And he must submit a financial statement every 6 to 12 months, including tax returns, to his probation officer. The global sentence as it relates to defendant Gibson would be 2 life sentences plus 65 years, 60 months.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
2 life sentences plus 65 years. Go ahead.
60 months and 5 years consecutive.
Okay.
Yes, all the sentences to run consecutive. As it relates to Linda Smith, also known as Morenika Vinnie, count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. And count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. We are also asking for the same special conditions as enumerated as to defendant John Gibson. That's a global of 40 years to serve. As it relates to Tyrone Taylor, he is an A recidivist, and the sentence we would ask is as follows. Count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 9, rape, life. Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve. Count 16, false imprisonment, 10 years to serve. Count 17, pandering by compulsion, 10 years to serve. Count 18, possession of cocaine, 3 years to serve. Count 19, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve. And count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, because this is his second offense, 10 years to serve. We'd ask the following special conditions would apply. He is to also to have a $100,000 fine. He is to register as a sex offender. He is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with any of the named victims, to include Diamond Irving and their families. No social media or dating applications. He must stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. And he's also to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. We are also asking that defendant Taylor submit to alcohol, drug, and treatment evaluation and any recommended treatment and random screens. That is a global sentence of 2 life sentences plus 93 years and 12 months. In closing, Your Honor, we'd ask, the state would ask that the punishment fit the ends of justice and bring sufficient closure to these victims in our community, our city, and our state. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Manners.
Good morning to this honorable court. Carrington Matthews, Senior and Junior, on behalf of Mr. John Michael Gibson. In all things, we will give thanks. In all things, under all circumstances, good or bad. Your Honor, Code Section 16-6-1 is the rape statute. A person convicted of the offense of rape shall be punished. These are the options in our statute. says death, by imprisonment for life without parole, by imprisonment for life, or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Code section 16-6-2, Your Honor, governs the aggravated sodomy count. A person convicted of the offense of aggravated sodomy shall be punished by imprisonment for life or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Under 16-14-5, the RICO count, a person convicted of engaging in a RICO violation shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by not less than 10 nor more than 20 years in prison or the fine specified in subsection B of this code section or both. Under 16-5-46, trafficking of a person for sexual servitude, any person who commits the offense of trafficking an individual for labor, servitude, or sexual servitude shall be guilty of a felony and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 10 nor more than 20 years and a fine not to exceed $100,000. Your Honor, when we are handling sentencing hearings, Code Section 17-10-2 governs that process. In the hearing, the judge shall hear additional evidence and extenuation, mitigation, and aggravation of punishment, including the record of any prior criminal convictions and pleas of guilty or nolo contendere or of the accused, or the absence of any prior conviction and pleas. Punishment for serious violent offenders based on the verdict, rape and aggravated sodomy fall within this category. The sentence of any person convicted of the serious violent felony of rape or aggravated sodomy shall, unless sentenced to life imprisonment, be a split sentence, which shall include a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 25 years, followed by probation for life, and no portion of the mandatory minimum sentence imposed shall be suspended, stayed, probated, deferred, or withheld by the sentencing court. Your Honor, under 17-10-10, concurrent sentences, where at one term of court, a person is convicted on more than one indictment or accusation, or on more than one count thereof, and sentenced to imprisonment, the sentences shall be served concurrently unless otherwise expressly provided therein. Under 17-10-11, granting of credit generally. Upon conviction for an offense, a person shall be given full credit for each day spent in confinement in any penal institution or facility, and in any institution or facility for treatment or examination for disability, including pretrial confinement for any reason since the date of arrest for the offense which is the subject of the sentence. This code section shall apply to sentences for all crimes, whether classified as violations, misdemeanors, or felonies, and to all courts having criminal jurisdiction located within the boundaries of the state. Your Honor, under 17-10-12, the custodian of the defendant shall be required to make an affidavit specifying the number of days which the defendant has spent in confinement in his custody, and furnish the affidavit to the clerk of the court within 5 days after sentence is imposed if the defendant is convicted. The affidavit of the custodian of the defendant shall be made a part of the official record of the trial. And that particular affidavit will be submitted to the Department of Corrections when the defendant has been sentenced to the custody of the department. The Department of Corrections shall give the defendant credit for the number of days spent in confinement prior to conviction and sentence, as reflected in the custodian's affidavit, before forwarding the record to the State Board of Pardons and Parole. Your Honor, our legislature has set forth in these types of crimes where there's been a conviction the contemplation of various aspects of sentencing. One that can include a minimum sentence of 25 years followed by life on probation. I will note for the record, Your Honor, that prior to trial, the state of Georgia recommended to Mr. Gibson a sentence of 25 years on the rape. Now, our system of justice, Your Honor, frowns upon a trial penalty, a trial tax, sentencing people harsher because they elected to exercise their Sixth Amendment right to a trial, and handing and imposing a much harsher sentence goes against the grain of justice, because what it does is it has a tendency to snuff out the Sixth Amendment if a person is in fear of going to trial because of the trial penalty or the trial tax. So we're asking this court to exercise the good judgment that it has and has done throughout this trial and throughout its tenure on the bench to level a sentence that is fair, one that is just, and one that contemplates the purposes of sentencing. The purpose of sentencing, Your Honor, addresses three things. It addresses retribution, it addresses deterrence, and it addresses rehabilitation. These victims that have come forward to this podium have expressed to this court what they want the court to do. And if you've been a victim of anything, there's various cycles of thoughts and emotions that go through being a victim. You could be a victim of a sex crime. You could be a victim of a theft. You could be a victim of a heinous lie. You could be a victim of anything. And one of the things is going to be anger. One of the things is going to be trauma. One of the things could be forgiveness. There could be a lot of emotions that come out of being a victim. You have perfect victims and you have imperfect victims, but nonetheless you have victims. You can agree or disagree with the trial verdict, but we are standing here today because we are now at this sentencing phase. And we're asking this court to, when it looks at sentencing, that it also considers not just the retribution part of the sentencing, not just that, the deterrence, that's a scenario where the sentence will hopefully deter others who are in society from engaging in certain conduct, because it says, hey, listen, this is what could happen. So it's supposed to be a deterrence. There are many articles, many statistics and things of that nature that say that harsh punishments don't really deter. Maybe it does. We don't really know. Then there's an aspect of sentencing that deals with rehabilitation. Things that send a message that says, hey, look, we believe that there can be rehabilitation in a sentence that's appropriate, that allows for punishment, deterrence, and for rehabilitation. Now, Mr. Gibson is 34 years old. He has 3 children. He has a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 9-year-old. The state enumerated that he has 24 cycles. However, he has no prior felony convictions on his record. None. The open cases involve a drug charge from 2021.
What does a lifetime warranty mean? At Harbor Freight, it means confidence. All our hand tools get a lifetime warranty because they're engineered to last.
And we understand that the state brought forth a RICO indictment, and they put in its indictment a period from 2013 down through 21, 22. They did say that there are countless unknown victims. That's what they said in their representation to the court. Countless unknown victims. We are here to deal with what was heard inside this trial and what is known about 1710-2 as it relates to my client's criminal history. They also indicated that there were, quote, attempts to contact Kiera Adams weeks before trial. That is the absolute first time today that I've ever heard that representation being made. No information concerning that was brought forth to this court pre-trial. None of that information was brought forth from that witness stand during the testimony of Kiera Adams. So that's a first for me to hear that information. Each of these young ladies that have come forward, and we know who did testify in this trial, and we know who did not testify in this trial. And we don't know why individuals did not testify in this trial. We were not provided that necessary information. The court was not, nor did we. Now, this court has heard from each of the pieces of evidence in this case. This court has heard from the witnesses in this case that did testify. This court heard cross-examinations of each of these particular witnesses. And the court heard the jury's verdict. Today, the state asks for 2 life sentences, and they ask for 60 years. They ask for consecutive time. They ask for a very stacked, harsh penalty, a trial tax, a trial penalty. Now, sometimes courts say, well, Mr. Matthews, you know, the court can say, well, I was in the trial and I heard from these victims and I heard the evidence. And the court did. The court heard this entire trial. And I know this court to be a fair court. And I know that a sentence that is proper is one that takes into consideration all of the things that are outlined in 1710-2 and the victim impact statements combined, and the fact that my client has no prior felony convictions and the purposes of sentencing. And the court will fashion a sentence. Now, if a person is granted a life sentence, Your Honor, the statute says that that person will become eligible for parole after serving 30 years in custody. That's what the statute says. And that's what I understand the law to be. I'm not asking this court to give Mr. Gibson a life sentence in this case. I'm not asking the court to give Mr. Gibson 2 life sentences. I'm asking for concurrent time. I'm asking this court, before the trial, the recommendation was 25 years. He did not accept that because Mr. Gibson wanted his day in court, and he got that. He received his day in court, Your Honor. He wanted the constitutional right to have his 6th Amendment trial, and he received that. He received a fair trial from this honorable court. So we're asking that he receive a fair sentence as well. It doesn't stop at sentencing. The fairness continues from jury selection all the way through the end of the case. And we believe that that's what will happen this morning. We're asking this court, Your Honor. My client would like to address the court.
Okay.
So before I ask the court for what I'd like to ask the court to do, can I have my client address the court?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Good morning today, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for giving us a fair trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, sit there and judge someone's life, and, it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment. I've done things in my life, I'm not perfect, but the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things. I know it's typical for a person to come up here and, show remorse to, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial, which is Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, and Jasmine Brown. Not remorse on behalf of like I did anything to them, because if you know me, and people who really know me know that I wouldn't force anybody to do anything. I met women, I dated women who were doing escort or whatever, however people want to look at it from a moral standpoint, but who was doing these things as a grown woman. I've only dealt with grown women. Nothing was forced. Nothing was coerced or anything of that nature. If you notice, before this trial, no woman can say anything about me before this trial. If you notice, before this indictment, no woman can say anything about me before this indictment. I get the situations that people are put in when they're faced with a certain type of crime or a certain type of time, and they're bullied into this situation to put the blame on someone, or to put the blame on Cash Out, or to put the blame on someone who's at the top. That's why I didn't really fault them for their decision. I didn't fault Deanna Sanders for making her decision during a proffer. She just had a child. Mind you, she was just on video call with me while being incarcerated. I don't fault Kiera Adams for doing the things she did with her proffer, because mind you, she was facing a certain amount of time handling her probation in different cases that she's on. I don't fault people for making accusations, because I'm a man that typically let women leave on their own behalf. Never held them in prison or held them in slavery or said, you can't leave me, or you can't do this. Every woman you've seen come on this stand showed you that they left and came back willingly on their own. What I mean by that, they left on their own and they came back willingly on their own. During this trial, I was able to see, how valuable life is, and how valuable the people that you hang around, or the people that you even date, or the people that you even know, how valuable it is to judge their character. Sometimes I let people stay around who I knew was going to affect a situation that I had going on. So I don't, and for the people who came to this trial that I never met a day in my life, never had any contact with them, never had a text message with them, never had an interaction with them, don't even know where most of these stories came from. It's baffling. Never forced a woman to commit a sexual act. I've been traveling all around the world from here to Dubai, and you would never hear a woman say that I forced them to do anything sexual or commit a rape with anybody. I don't hang around people that do things of that nature. I feel like, and somebody asked me this the other day, it was like, every time I see your head high and you always smiling, because when you have that confidence, it takes me back to the Bible. When you have that confidence and you can be falsely accused of things, Jesus was falsely accused, a lot of the prophets were falsely accused. You don't have that emotion like you've done something, so if you've seen me with my head high, or if you've seen me smiling, it's because I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment. So I really thank you for providing us a fair trial. Just me getting to know you during trial, I was like, she's just the judge. But when you sit 12 people in that panel and you have them, judge our lives and, put them in a position to judge our lives, it takes you back to, once again, the Bible, when people had to judge these prophets' lives. And I say, if you know me, you actually know me. There's plenty of people that know me in this world. There's plenty of people that know me in this jail. There's plenty of people that know me where I'm from. Like I say, once again, I'm not perfect. I come from certain areas. I come from, certain environments. I come from doing things in my past life before the music. But I'm here to tell you that if you sat in this trial and you paid attention to this trial, before these dates, no woman could ever say, I done those things to them. Before these dates, you can go on my Instagram and see these women enjoying themselves, having their own things, living their own life. Before these dates, I can say you had these women that never had anything to say about me. Before this indictment, before the RICO, you had these women actually talking to me while I was incarcerated. I've been incarcerated for 4 years, and these women are interacting with me. These women who took the stand and supposedly scared of me, or monsters, or I'm a monster, or took these proffers. This wasn't the case before they was indicted. So from my perspective, I feel like some people can get bullied into a situation that they don't really want to do. And I'm sitting here just holding my head high and just, feeling that one day the truth will come out. One day the truth will come out on my situation. One day the truth will come out on this rape allegation, that these things never happened. And when you see a person get up on that stand and put their hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, that means you have to be perfect like you're Jesus. You have to be perfect on that stand. You can't show a flaw. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one for me because I had flaws in my life. So you have to tell the complete truth on that stand. And I got up there and see people put their hand on that Bible and not tell the complete truth. And that's baffling. But at the end of the day, I put my trust in the Most High. I put my trust in the universe to bring out the truth, to bring out the truth of these people who made these allegations. To me, it's like you have no heart. You have no heart. And I know people want me to stay in line or walk a toe, but when you speaking something truthfully and you speaking from the heart and you know that this is not your character, something must be said. And I just wanted to address the court and give my perspective on the things that I felt during this trial and the judgment that I felt that the jurors gave us was not the correct judgment. And it will show.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matthews?
Your Honor, thank you for allowing Mr. Gibson to speak to this honorable court. So, Your Honor, I'm asking this court to measure what was offered before trial and what the court believes is fair after this trial, and that there not be a trial penalty imposed. I'm asking the court to consider a 30-year sentence with all of the charges run concurrent, with the exception of the firearm charge that has to be, under our statute, a consecutive imposition.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you.
All right.
She's had not a single negative incident during her stay at all. Not a single write-up, not a run-in, not an argument, nothing at all. In fact, there's a supervising officer that is in the women's location who speaks very highly of her and her involvement while in custody.
Correction, it's 1 in 37.
I'm sorry, is it 37?
Yes.
Okay, 1 in 37, my apologies.
Go ahead.
Her last, as the state shared with you, her criminal history, the only other felony to speak of related to Ms. Smith is not some 32 years ago. And it's in regards to a possession of marijuana charge. While she's been in custody, she's been positively engaged and working on rehabilitation. One of the things that Mr. Matthews mentioned that is expected to come out of sentencing and what the expectation is. She's already been working on her rehabilitation since she's been in custody. She has been a pod worker, which is the equivalent of a trustee. So her requirements there is that she cleans the pod, that she passes out food, that she mops floors, that she sweeps floors, that she makes sure that clothes get washed.
And while that sounds to some, while it might be, I don't know, even demeaning to some, it's actually a privilege that's bestowed upon them while they're in custody, that they're able to be trusted to do these things. And she's been trusted to do these things while she's been in custody since 2022. She has participated in the New Beginnings program and is still participating in the New Beginnings program, working towards the certificate that they receive at the end of that. Through that, they participate in anger management, parenting classes, AA classes, cosmetology, all these things, regardless of whether or not these are areas that pertain to their particular arrest or pertain to something that they have personally asked for or needed. And she's walked through all of them. She's participated in everything. Since she's been in custody, she has been conducting Bible study for the past, I want to say 2.5 years. And in that, she has received a certificate, and it's for the faith worth dying for, having achieved a grade of 100%. She's also participated in lessons on assurance and received a certificate for that through the Set Free Prison Ministries Rehabilitation by Regeneration program that's at the jail for her. During the time that she's been in custody, she's unfortunately lost her father. During this trial, you learned that while at the home in Johns Creek, her father lived with her. She had a family that lived in the home with her, and she was a primary caregiver. Since she's been in custody, she's lost him. Her mother is 77 and is in Alabama. Her brother is just 50. And during the time that her father was severely declining, he went into a coma. He's recently come out of the coma. He requires speech therapy. He requires, I believe, occupational therapy and physical therapy, and is receiving dialysis. So naturally, her mother at 77, her brother at 50 with all these now special needs, these are folks that she would like to get back to, folks that she would like to be able to caregive for like she did for her father while he was ill before she went into custody. We attempted, Ms. Smith never wanted to be in trial. Ms. Smith never wanted to have a trial. And so there were several conversations and meetings that the state and I had, and the bottom line is that we were just far too far apart on being able to reach a negotiation that we could present to this court. So she ended up in trial, but definitely not a choice of hers. I've heard the recommendation from the state, which ultimately is the max on the 2 charges and to run them consecutively. On behalf of Ms. Smith, I would ask for something different, but I do want to allow Ms. Smith an opportunity to speak on her own behalf if Your Honor would like to hear from her. You can come up here.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry. I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Not a day ever since I turned myself in, I was always prayerful for the victims. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously. I pray for the district attorney's office. I pray for you, Judge, because that's what God requires me to do. And that's what I truly feel in my heart, because I love God so much, and I'm so full of joy. That Friday, when the verdict came in, I wasn't angry at all, not at all. I almost thought something was wrong with me. So that Saturday, well, the night before, let me back up. I talked to God like I always do. And he said, I must give my testimony to the young ladies in New Beginnings. And I said, Father God, I don't want to put my business out there. That's my business. But Father God said, your business is my business, and my agenda is your agenda. He said for me, which I always do, I respect authority. And Sergeant Ball was on the shift in my pod. So I had to speak to her. I was kind of afraid to speak to her. But Father God reminded me, he said, I'm by your side, do not fear. So I pressed the button and I asked, could I speak to her? Because I knew that in order to get my testimony, there's authority that I must talk to. So I went out and she asked me what was going on. And I said, Sergeant Paul, I'm asking, like, during devotion, will I be able to give my testimony? Because that's what God has said for me to do. It wasn't a choice. God doesn't give you that. He gives commandments. And I never want to be disobedient to God. She said, Miss Smith, she said, you cannot be disobedient to God. So if you give your testimony and it just saves one person, just one person, you've done what God asked you to do. So I gave my testimony to about 35 women in the New Beginnings pod with me. God was speaking through me. I give him all the praise and glory. It's not me at all. My attorney, she's been great. She's been great. And she asked me when she came Sunday to speak to me what I would like her to say. And she has done that. And I just said, give me an opportunity just to speak to the judge just a little bit. I'm so sorry for the victims. And I pray for them and will continue to pray. Because God says, if you love me, you love others. And when I pray wholeheartedly. I didn't think I could do it in the beginning. I said, God, I don't know if I can do this. But he knew exactly what he wanted me to do. He chose me to do this. I couldn't even stop teaching the word if I wanted to. That's not even an option with me. Whatever you wish it to be, I'm okay with that. Because I will continue to spread the good news wherever I go. Because that's the path that God put me on. It's been with me for a long time. I just didn't take notice to it. I love what I do. I love spreading the good news. I love showing love to all, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I'm not angry at all. And I thank you for this opportunity. Miss Winfrey, I thank you. I thank everyone.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'm going to be asking that you sentence her to a period of 20 years to serve 5 with the balance on probation. The state has listed their conditions. I have no objection to the conditions that they have listed, so I ask that those conditions be the conditions that this court sentence her to. And that she be allowed to serve the balance of her 20 years on probation outside of that 5 years.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I will be brief because Mr. Matthews said a lot of what I was going to say up here for Mr. Taylor. I would just like to add, Mr. Taylor's been incarcerated longer than everyone else. He's been in jail since this arrest for this case back in 2019. Mr. Taylor, out of this entire trial, played the smallest role, if any, in regards to this quote unquote enterprise. And just remember that literally majority of the people that took the stand didn't even know who Mr. Taylor was. Or if they had seen him, they had seen him once, maybe somewhere over the years. As I have said throughout this trial and at the beginning, Mr. Taylor isn't similarly situated to literally every other co-defendant that's on this case. We've all been through these hearings. We've all been through the trial. I just wanted to put that out there on the record because Mr. Taylor wanted to make sure that it was known he's played the smallest role in this case, yet he's already been punished more than every other person on the indictment. Before we talk about, well, as the state said, Mr. Taylor is a recidivist, so there's not really much I can do when it comes to sentencing with the court. However, Mr. Taylor does want to address the court before we move forward.
All right. All right.
Hey, how you doing, Your Honor?
Good morning.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor.
Speak up a little loud for me, sir.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor. I know my life ain't been perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in life. I know my background ugly, but not violence, like being caught with guns and robbery and murders and stuff. I know that I made a lot of mistakes by making the wrong decisions. And I learned since 2019, I've been incarcerated to make the right decision. And I learned a lot of patience. And the victims who accusing me of something that they said I did, that I didn't do. And it hurt me. Since I've been locked up, my family, I've been having folks dying on me. My son growing up, my daughter growing up. And I've been doing the best I can to get out this situation. And for the victim, Jordan Allen, I asked that she forgive me if she felt like I did any harm to her. I don't harm no one. I help people. I always have jobs that I work. I was a chef. I put pipes in the ground. I helped create Centennial Park, the Kroger off Ponce de Leon. I was working. I was doing a lot of positive things, but I had my foot sometimes in the wrong mud. So since I've been doing time, I learned to stay positive and don't do nothing negative. Just stay positive and stay prayed up. I talk to my mama every day that's all I call my mama, every day since I was locked up. And I talk to my son, I tell him, make the right decision. I talk to him like he's a brother. Make the right decision. And think about the consequences on the bad and the good. And I know that people judge me on my look. I got a strong face. I'm a man. I look like that. I can't help how I look. I'm not no violent person, no herder. I don't hurt nobody. And any woman who got up to understand and say I hurted them, they can't show no proof, no picture no report that I really physically hurted them. I got a mother, I got sisters, I got nieces, I got aunties. I love women. I ain't ever committed no crime that they're accusing me that I committed. You can look at my record. In the past, I was a user. I used to use drugs, and in 2017, I was in a drug program called Stan Inks. Fulton County put me in now. And when I was in there, when I completed the program, I was with my friend Felicia. I was in a relationship with her. In 2017, 18, and 19, I got caught up with this for something that I didn't do. And I don't know how to say it, but I know that if I actually can't get another chance to prove that I'm a righteous person, I'm not violent, I'm not no threat, I'm not none of that what they saying I am. I promise you I'm not. That's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, thank you for giving him the opportunity to speak.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take some time with this. Should be back 10 minutes.
One day, you'll be able to meet surging content demands without compromising your business or your brand. For that, there's Adobe Express.
Yo, this case is nasty work, bro. Nasty work. All right. I just wanted that to just play out. I didn't really want to talk through that. You know what I mean? I just really want to hear it. Salute to everybody that just stopped by that's listening to this at all. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody that's here. I just think this whole situation is crazy, though. The remorse factor. You know what I'm saying? You've already been found guilty. But you know, people got things to prove. You locked up for grape and certain kind of charges and certain kind of crimes. It's crazy. So, you know, when you get a chance to speak, son, you want to kind of speak for yourself to kind of, you know what I mean? Yo, bro, this ain't what it is. And you know what I mean? I get that. I get that element. So you want to kind of clear your name. But listen, bro, you cannot clear it right now. You've already been convicted of what you've been convicted of. So all you can do at this moment now is try to fall upon the mercy of the court. You show some accountability. And this is where, see, Cash Out know he about to get done. So that's his last testament, bro. We ain't gonna hear nothing from him after that, bro. He's done. He know he's done. You feel me? So he went and said what he said. But at the end of the day, man, you got to take accountability in these cases. You got to be like, all right, yeah, I feel like people up there maybe lied on me and this and this and that. But listen, man, there was victims in this. Yes, I'm sorry. I could have done better. I was in a better position. I could have this and this and that. You need to speak in a way now. Speak to your charges, not speak to your whole crime and the whole trial that you may think is unfair. Now you have to speak to what you have been convicted of. You see what I'm saying? Like Diddy in his case, you know what I'm saying? Because he ain't scot free or for nothing, but he got his 2 things that he got. Luckily, that Diddy beat the other things. Why? You got trafficking and all this other stuff. The tuition that Diddy got caught up on, he was a part of it too. So people in jail is like, Diddy's situation is a weird situation. So it's not like he was just wilding up, using up the women, pimping out the women. He was there being a cuck and a trick at the same time with them. So it's like, So, but these other people, like that other guy, Desnique, that I showed, this guy that's trafficking the women, and they got the ads, and look, they want you doing this with the people. You know what I mean? It's all the same thing. Don't get it twisted in a nutshell. You know what I mean? But it's kind of different how people going to be looking at you inside the building, man. Not only do him and his cousin got that, him and his cousin got grape charges on me. He got grape. Grape sodomy type charges, bro. These charges is crazy. Besides the trafficking, you got grape, homie. You got grape. Bro, you got to go up there sounding better with some accountability, bro. When you got a conviction of, you got grape on there, they done found you guilty of a grape, the trafficking, the RICO, all of that. They done found you guilty of too many things, bro. We talking about his mother is the most smartest person in that whole room. And I told y'all in the chat, I said, watch his mom come to me with some sense, though. She ain't stupid. She been around the block straight. You know what I mean? She been in court. She knows something. She got up there, listen, yo, the victims. I just want to say one of her first things came out of her mouth, whether it helps her or not. She may be getting that. She could get a 15. She could get a 5. I don't know if she's going to get no 5. Because, you know what I mean? Nobody's dealing with these kind of cases like this. This was the first RICO in Georgia, and ex-trafficking RICO ever convicted. I think like the second RICO trafficking is brought up like that, like this, in a sense, it's like maybe like the 80s, the 70s, or whatever time that happened. Bro, they're not playing with a RICO. They damn sure ain't playing with no ex-trafficking. Sorry, they're not playing with these types of things. They're not. Okay, this is Georgia. They're not playing around. They just had a long case with Young Thug, even though it's not the same thing. There's a RICO. All of that happening. Young Thug case was beat in any way. If you think it is beat, possibly, he still got 15 on the back end. That could be a trap for Young Thug, that he could still fall back in that same hole and find himself back in that same federal building where he was just now before, or the state building, wherever he was, in jail. You know what I'm saying? It could find itself right back in the building. So that's why these people that give you a little 15 years, That's why the mom's looking like she could get that. If she get that, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? If she get that, that's cool. You know what I mean? I think she spoke well. You know what I'm saying? But now everybody's crying. Now everybody's talking about Jesus. Shauna in the chat said something about that. Now everybody talking about God. Everybody talking about Jesus. We know that. Listen, man, God said every knee shall bend and every tongue shall cry. What we are watching is knees bending and tongues crying. That's what we watching, homie. Serious. So whether you want to bring it up now, God gonna get it out of you somehow, some way. His angels chant holy, holy, holy all day, homie. That's what they do all day. So it ain't like you and me, get forgetful, wake up, remember God. No, they chant holy, holy all day. So he's gonna get his out of you too. Don't think you ain't gonna get the praise out of you too, no matter who you think you believe or what you think you believe on this earth. He's gonna get it out of you at some point. He will. So don't worry about that point. So that's what we see happening with these people right here. Okay. You got to show accountability, man. I think accountability is going to be something that's hurting this guy. Accountability is something that's going to hurt this guy. Yeah, mom did it right, threw herself to mercy. The courts did her thing the right way. They're going to be right back. I'm going to check and see if another channel is streaming this as well. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me check and see if the other channel is back, because this channel is acting like they're waiting home. But Jesus, yeah, man, we're gonna wait to see what's going on with this RICO trafficking case, man. We gotta wait to see what's going on with this, man. It's crazy, man. It's on the wait. You know, they're going to pause. I went to the other channels to see what is going on other stations as well. So everybody's on a pause. Everybody done cut all their live feeds, I feel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, that's what's going on in the building right now, Kaylin, man. Knees is bending, man. God gonna get his praise about us if we want to give him or not, man. I just try to give it to him all the time, no matter what's going on with me. I done came from a life of slinging drugs, doing a lot of shit in my life. I always give God the credit, regardless of the fact of what's going on with nothing. Always helped me out a lot of my situations. Just because we think we're doing negative, that don't mean we can't always still give God his credit and his praise. Trust me, son, he might just be moving us forward and moving us towards him. You know what I'm saying, son? How they go, how it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? You never know when the last time you ever get to say God is great too. So at least I said mine, no matter what I'm doing. Facts. So it don't matter. You know what I mean? Praise God and Jesus today, man. Trust me, 7's in the chat for God and Jesus anytime. I do want to wait for this one stream to come back up, but I think I'm gonna start it again. I'm gonna start the next one again. So y'all subscribe now, hit the notification bells now. Salute to everybody that hit me on Cash App. I seen a couple of y'all hit me on Cash App, so I'll shout y'all on the next stream. Jalen Caesar's in the building. Shout out Nico in the building too. Sincere Dal, y'all see everybody in the building. It's Keith, I see you, baby. But look, everybody subscribe, hit notify, make sure the bells is on bellins. Black bell shaking with the make sure the bells is on bells, homie. Facts. Cause when I pop up, I pop out. You know what I mean? Shout out to my new BM from NO. I mean, Baton Rouge, Twilla and all that. My little BMs and all that. You know what I mean? Shout out to my baby moms. I ain't. Destiny. You know, she my BM too. Anyway, got a lot of baby moms. I got a lot of kids, man. I'm about to father the whole earth. But listen, y'all. Listen. Y'all subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bells, and I'm going to start that. As soon as I'm just waiting till it starts so that we can get it right on the point in the beginning. So ain't nobody got to drag it out, go through middle of streams to see sentences and all that. Nah, as soon as you click in, it's on go, homie. Judge with the gavel in his hand. Ding, ding, ding. Hold up. You know what I mean? We giving it up sour, homie. We're giving it up sour. So salute to all my kings, all my queens in the chat, man. Salute to y'all. You know, I appreciate y'all, man. You know, Uda love all y'all, man. Facts, man. Everybody in this chat is my brother, my sister, man. All right. Know that. Always know that. Besides some of the ladies that I will oil up. Okay? Cool. Thank you. And I will be in a Freako, will not be in a Rico. Thank you. Okay? Learn it. Learn that. Okay? Good. I've been getting away with my consensual oils for a very long time, and I plan on. So salute to all my people in the building. You already know the vibe, man. Uda, Uda, Uda. Make sure y'all stay on go, y'all. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying it bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, huh? Sick of the kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip set like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her. You got a jug and finesse her. I give a dick that'll change her life. You leave her.